The first thing she did was laugh, a quick, nervous, like she'd stepped off a curb she thought was there. "They'll love you," she said, then paused. "I hope." That's how I found myself standing in her kitchen at midnight, holding a mug of tea I didn't ask for, listening to rain tick against the window while she explained how a harmless lie had grown legs and started running. Her parents were flying in from out of town, traditional, loving, curious, and very excited to finally meet the boyfriend she'd mentioned during a lonely phone call 6 months ago. "I didn't think it would go this far," she said, rubbing her forehead. "I just didn't want them to worry." I looked around the apartment, the warm light, mismatched furniture, a photo of her laughing on the Phrygia, and thought about how easily we make promises we never plan to keep. "So," I said, "what's the plan?" She met my eyes, hopeful and embarrassed at the same time. "Be my boyfriend for the weekend." The rain got louder, like it was waiting for my answer. I said yes, mostly because it felt easier than saying number, and partly because kindness, when it knocks, rarely asks if you're ready. We started with rules. No lying about serious things. No making fun of her dad's accent. Hold hands in public. Smile in photos. Sleep on opposite sides of the bed fully clothed because boundaries matter even in pretend. On the drive to the airport, she practiced introductions like lines in a play. I watched her grip the steering wheel, jaw tight, and wondered how often we perform versions of ourselves just to be accepted. Her parents came through the sliding doors beaming. Her mother hugged her so hard I thought she might disappear. Her father shook my hand with the firm, measuring grip of someone who wanted to know what I was made of. "So," he said, smiling, "you're the boyfriend?" "Yes, sir," I said, suddenly aware of my heartbeat. The weekend unfolded like a carefully choreographed dance. Breakfasts with too much food, long conversations about work, weather, the city. Her mother asked how we met. I told the truth mostly. We'd met at a volunteer event, packing meals for families. We'd talked, we'd laughed. The lie was the label, not the moments. At night, when the apartment went quiet, we sat on opposite sides of the couch, shoes off, sharing the kind of silence that feels safe. "Thank you," she said once, barely above a whisper. "I know this is a lot." "It's okay," I replied, and it was more than okay. The twist came on Sunday afternoon. Her father asked if I'd like to go for a walk. Just the two of us. We strolled through a park where leaves crunched under our shoes and kids chased pigeons like it was their job. He listened more than he spoke, nodding as I talked about my work, my family, the things that mattered to me. Then he stopped, hands in his pockets. "You know," he said, "I can usually tell when something isn't quite true." My stomach dropped. "But I can also tell when someone is kind," he continued. "And you are." I waited for the rest, heart pounding. "She worries too much about disappointing us," he said softly. "She's always been like that." I didn't correct him. I didn't confess. I just listened. "Take care of her," he finished, "in whatever way you can." That night, after her parents went to bed, I told her about the walk. She sat very still, eyes shiny. "He knew?" "I don't think he needed to," I said. "He just wanted to know if you were okay." She nodded, a single tear slipping free. "I hate that I lied." "I think you were trying to protect love," I said. "That counts for something." The emotional climax came the next morning, at the airport. Her mother hugged me, long and warm. "Thank you for being good to her," she said. "We can see how happy she is." She wasn't. Not exactly. But she was learning. After security swallowed them up, we stood there, unsure what came next. "Well," she said, forcing a smile, "that's over." "Yeah," I replied. We walked to the car in silence. Then she stopped, turned to me, and took my hands. "I need to say this," she said. "You didn't just help me with a lie. You helped me feel a broken bar worthy. Like I don't have to pretend to be okay to be loved." My throat tightened. "You were always worthy." She smiled through tears. "Still, thank you." We hugged. A real one this time. No rules. No pretending. Life, predictably, moved on. We didn't suddenly become a couple. We didn't promise forever. We texted sometimes, grabbed coffee, laughed about how ridiculous it all was. But something had shifted. A few weeks later, she told her parents the truth. Not everything, just enough. They laughed. They told her they loved her. They said they'd rather have honesty than perfection. Months passed. One evening, As the city hummed outside a cafe tilde a copyright window, she looked at me and said, "You know, the funny thing, what? That weekend taught me what I actually want." "And what's that?" She smiled. "Someone who shows up, even when it's inconvenient." I smiled back. "That sounds reasonable." We sat there, comfortable in the knowledge that kindness doesn't always need a label to matter. Sometimes the most meaningful relationships aren't the ones that last forever, but the ones that arrive exactly when we need them, quiet, imperfect, and full of humanity. And sometimes, pretending to be someone's boyfriend for a weekend teaches you both what love really looks like: honest, gentle, brave, and always worth showing up for.